The Gambia Football Federation with Union of European Football Association officially launched assistance program for girls across the Gambia. DOI embarks on a caravan tour ahead of Transformative Agenda 2021 event. These and more coming on Gambia 24. Stay tuned. Good evening. This is Gambia 24 here on Africa TV with me, Sohna Tunkara, and now to our news in detail. We begin with our sports story where the Gambia Football Federation in partnership with the Union of European Football Association has on Monday officially launched an assistance program for girls across the 7 regions. The launching ceremony, which was held at the GFF House in Kanifing, is aimed at giving more technical trainings to women and girls at the grassroots levels. Amindao files in this report.
Women in the Gambia used to show less interest in football as the society has the belief that men are the only ones entitled to succeed in the footballing world. However, there is a massive shift in the number of women and girls playing football in the Gambia recently. As a result, the GFF UEFA Assist program is meant to further help girls across the 7 regions to realize their dreams of playing football. Sadie Sisaho, the women football coordinator, said they want to well-structure women football at the grassroots level.
I can recall back in 2016 when we are doing the Live Your Goals, many were saying like the activities grassroots, yes, because that's the structure. That's why we want to see women's football to be structured well, because we want to have a very solid foundation and we want to see the gap from the U15 and the U17, U23 and the senior level, because senior level is the pyramid and is the last level when it comes to that level of development. So with that, with the technical department together with our boss and the regional coaches, we not only the project, but we have also set projects when it comes to development of grassroots football, especially in the women's football areas.
Monica Starr, the director of German Gambian Football Project, said the girls will have a training session by the coaches in all the regions.
I'm very happy that we're going to start in the region from tomorrow in North Bank and going through, like for 2 days, we're going to have, it's only a short time, but for 2 days we want to get girls actually having a festival, having a training session done by the coaches from the team. So we want the coaches to learn and to improve, and that is all, you know, the capacity. It all depends on the coach. If you have a good coach, you know you are set to go. So it's very important that the GF staff coming with me, that we evaluate these coaches when they do the training, give them advices for improvement and see how it works. So after 2 days, we go to the next region. So
According to Langtombong Tamba, the 3rd Vice President of the GFF, who is also responsible for the women and youth football at the Federation, the grassroots is the foundation to develop football.
If we want to develop football, it is always good to start it from the grassroots. Hence, I want to thank the technical department for this great idea of going to the regions, see for yourself, and groom the young ones who will become our under-17 and eventually our senior national team players. On behalf of the Executive Committee of the Gambia Football Federation and on my own behalf, I want to formally declare the GFF UEFA Assist Youth Program formally launched.
The GFF Women Football Committee will on Tuesday 25th May commence a scouting mission to get the girls in all the regions for the grassroots level. Meanwhile, the Gambia Women's National Football Team became the newest addition to the Women's World Ranking in March 2020, making their debut at 17 in Africa and 113th globally in the latest edition of the FIFA Coca-Cola Women's World Ranking. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Amindao.
Africans rising and hopes of tomorrow will join Africans across the continent and beyond in commemorating the African Liberation Day. 25th May each year is marked to pay homage to foundation of the Organization of African Unity, the AOU, in 1963. Fatmata Kasim tells us more in this report.
The African Liberation Day is observed to celebrate the hard-fought achievement of the ending colonial occupation of the continent. This year, it is the 58th anniversary of the foundation of the Organization of African Unity, otherwise the OAU, which is today known as the African Union. The 2021 theme of the African Day is Pan-Africanism in the 21st century, our rights, our health, our future. Mohamed Lamin Seydiken, movement coordinator at African Rising, upheld the need to celebrate the tremendous effort made by Pan-African intellectuals who led the way to freedom.
Pan-Africanism is an ideology that encourages and strengthens bonds of solidarity among people of African descent, that they commonly share a common interest, that they deserve to be celebrated. It is aided anti-colonial and neo-colonial struggles, a means of solving our regional development challenges and continental unity. Pan-Africanism laid the foundation that has enabled Africans to resist, to protest, champion the cause of freedom for all Africans on the continent and in diaspora. In the past, several Africans have conveyed their struggles on how the continent can gain political independence from the colonial masters or colonial leaders.
Mr. Abdullahi, the chairman of Hopes of Tomorrow, raised a question as to whether the continent is fully liberated or not.
I think when we say African liberation, are we really liberated? This is a question that lingers in everybody's mind and head, that are we really liberated, looking at the situations. Each time we want to do something, we have to go look for foreign aid. Each time we want to do anything, the influence has to come outside of the continent. It has to either come from the probably the Middle East, probably the European Union, the UN. So we hardly have our own activities that is influenced by us or our leaders. So this is why we are thinking that we have a lot of things to do.
Mohamed M.S. Bas said it's important for Africa to rethink or create its own sovereignty wealth to cater for its need, without which, he said, the colonial enemy will continue to colonize.
So I believe it is important for Africa to rethink and create their own sovereign national wealth for their own African people, which is very important. Because we will come back here and also raise the same issues. The theme is health. What is the government doing towards achieving the universal health, access to health? A declaration, which is very important. What is the government doing when it comes to budget allocation in terms of health? Are we going to depend, because if you look at our budget, most of this, the high item on the agenda is debt payment, which is over 7 billion. Is that going to be sustainable? Are we going to take loans to pay debts? What are we doing around us to ensure that we create that sovereign national wealth so that we can empower ourselves as Africans?
The spirit of unity with Africa and the diaspora have always been resounded on every platform of this nature. While the bigger dream of the concept of both the OAU and the AU remain as prestigious targets, Africa and her population across the world are informed of the evil of colonial experience. The historic nationalism movement that fought to end the European occupation of the African continent has been lasting legacy to even contemporary challenges for Africa and people of her origin. The recent Black Lives Matter movement that engulfed the entire globe, the theme of respect and equality is among the spirit of African liberation. For iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
From the reports by Fatoumata Kasim, we move on to some political news. where the People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, DOI, has embarked on a caravan tour within the Greater Banjul area ahead of the party's Transformative Agenda 2021 program to be held on Tuesday. Part of the DOI's 2021 Transformative Agenda obliges every Gambian and African to envision and pay heed to clarion call of the pioneers of national liberation in Africa. As a result, DOI said it is envisioning the birth of a new era of a sovereign republic with a sovereign people who are architects of a destiny free from ignorance and poverty. Here is an excerpt from Halifa Saleh, the leader of DOI, during the caravan tour.
When it comes to people renting in other people's houses, including all the sufferings Gambians are going through, tomorrow we will tell them how to get rid of all those sufferings, and whoever wants to be a leader should tell people what you intend to do to alleviate their sufferings. Now if you don't do that, then it means people will lose hope in you. This is why we are doing this, so that before we enter to where people will elect us, we will tell them what we will do if we are elected into office.
Short commercial break and the news continues.
Following the announcement by the Independent Electoral Commission, the IEC, of the dates for the general voter registration scheduled from the 29th of May to 11th July 2021, the National Council for Civic Education, NCCE, reminds the public that voter registration is an integral part of the electoral process, as it is key to franchise as stated in Section 39 of the Constitution, and hence a civic right and a duty for all eligible Gambians. The NCCE therefore encourages every eligible citizen to fully participate in this crucial national exercise, as it is the basis for any credible and participatory election. The National Council for Civic Education informs the public that to register and acquire a voter's card in the upcoming general voter registration exercise, one has to prove your Gambian citizenship by producing one of the following documents as stated in Section 12 of the Elections Act: birth certificate, ID card, passport, or alcalo or district chief attestation. As the Gambia prepares for this very important national exercise, the National Council for Civic Education reminds the public to stay away from any altercation and refrain from the use of abusive language, provocative actions, intimidations, thugs and physical confrontation at all times, as these contravene the laws of the Gambia. The public is encouraged to follow due process to seek redress when the need arises during the period to ensure that peace and stability prevail throughout the process. Voter's card is your key to franchise. Register to vote and vote wisely. This message is brought to you by the National Council for Civic Education, NCCE, with support from the United Nations Development Programme.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back. You're still watching Gambia 24, and now on to our last story. The Truth Commission has on Monday briefed Gambians after embarking on a site visit to places of interest in the country. According to lead counsel Esa Fall, the Friday visit was part of their mandate to find the whereabouts of disappeared persons and to know the locations that were mentioned at the TRRC by perpetrators. Binta Jallo tells us more.
After a site visit to places of interest on Friday, the Truth Commission explained to the public in detail about what they have gathered during their fact-finding tour. Their entourage include representatives of victims, the press, and the Truth Commission officials. According to the lead counsel, the visit was not to discover human remains or bodies, rather it was meant to give the public and the Commission an understanding of the nature and condition of these places. Lead counsel Esa Fall said the first point of call, which was the Tanje NIA Detention Center, was where political activist Ibrahim Solo Sandeng was killed and buried. Ndul Cham was also reportedly received from one of the cells there by the junglers before killing him.
The site that has just been showed is the grave in which Solo Sandeng was buried. I should say secretly buried. And this was meant not to be discovered by the Gambian people. Fortunately, the evidence came out. Mr. Thomas Gomez was one of the forensic officers who, working for the police, who exhumed Mr. Sandeng's body.
Mr. Fall further explained where the team headed after Tanje and what happened later.
This is the beach side of the riverbank of Santamba Forest. You could see Omar Jallo explaining what happened in this particular place. He explained to the commission. One of the Ghanaians who were being killed at Brufut escaped. They took the victim to Yaya Jame's farm in Santamba. And at the river bank that you just seeing, they brought the Ghanaian down and Fire Manjang blew off his head.
Lead counsel Fall added that the Truth Commission visited other farms of the former president, but according to him, the farms were so vast that it could be twice the size of Banjul.
This is where Tumani Jallo and Abdullah Gay were killed.
Jallom dinkirati ye Tumani Jallo ning Abdullah Gay fa daming.
Fi ngeen di gis ni fofu lañ rayé Tumani Jallo ak Abdullah Gay.
Inside Yaya Jame's farm. Omar Jallo indicated.
Omar Jallo ñi tandiko.
Omar Jallo won nañu ne.
That Tumani Jallo.
Ko Tumani Jallo.
Ne Tumani Jallo.
And Abdullah Gay.
And Abdullah Gay.
Ak Abdullah Gay.
Were executed on that spot.
The TRRC is an independent Gambian institution with a mandate to conduct research and investigations into human rights violations committed under the presidency of Yahya Jammeh. The Commission further aims to prevent a repetition of the violations and abuses suffered under the past regime by making recommendations to government with the Never Again mantra in mind. For iAfrica News, Binta Jallo.
With a report by Binta Jallo on the Truth Commission ends tonight's Gambia 24. Thanks for watching and bye for now.